Hey everyone, hope you're having a fantastic start to your day. Continuing on with the last couple of weeks, I want to just cover off some of the items we've been talking about. We started off with what values are important to you. Then we looked at starting where you are. Where are you right now? Starting where you are. We looked at what's amazing about you activity. We did some accountability, and we looked at performance partners to kind of help increase and progress forward with your goals, whether it's personal or business. We also looked at things like mental strength and resilience. We looked at thinking big and getting down the things that we want to accomplish in our life and thinking big and looking towards those things. And we're also talking today a little bit about money mindset. This one has about 4 or 5 different pages that I will include in the comments, but on this particular one on money mindset, it talks a little bit about how developing a healthy and positive relationship with money is key to your ability to have success in life, in activities, and being able to help and contribute to others and towards your family. And so it has lots of things to consider in the activity, as well as different principles that I think would be worthwhile looking at. So money mindset, we're looking at action step number 1. So it talks here about, again, referencing the say, see, do, right? Sometimes what we hear goes in one ear, out the other, and what we say and what we hear, what we see then, sometimes seeing is believing, right? So we kind of remember that a bit more. And then what we do is actually gets locked in because we can then understand it because we've done it, we do it. So the influence, what did you hear when you were young around money? You know, did you hear, I work hard for my money and there's still not enough? Or did you hear, what verbal experiences did you hear from family or from those around you? What did you see? So are you seeing, tired, stressed out parents? What physical aspects of it did it cause? Was there cash flow consistency, or was it really sporadic? Did money come easy, or was it like a struggle? And did you see yourself copying your parents' money blueprint? And I'll talk a little bit about that later because that's an interesting part of it all. And then do, so the third, influence, right? What did you experience when you were young? Did you experience any life-changing events based on money? Did you hear or have great highs or lows based on money? Were there specific incidents that you could remember that were revolving around the lack of or the amount of money that you had? So that's action steps number 1. Number 2, going into awareness. So when you consider, there's 4 elements that we talk about here. Awareness of, elements of change. So then if you're not in a great spot with the money situation you're in, or you are, it's always good to have these things to consider. 4 elements of change: awareness, understanding, disassociation, and then reconditioning. So talking about awareness to start, we can't change what we don't know. So we need to write down the things that we've heard in the past. What did people say about money when you were young, right? Let's talk about that. Understanding next. Write down what you think these statements did or affect. How did they affect you? How has it affected you financially so far in your life? Right? Consider those things. Disassociation. See that. So now we're looking at what we saw, what we heard, and now what did we see? Thoughts that represent only what you learned are not part of you, right? So because you learnt them from your parents or from where you learned about money, that doesn't mean it necessarily represents you specifically, exactly you. So, and then reconditioning. So then how can you recondition that? One of the things you can do to associate this with, now that you've seen, you've heard, and now you're doing, is to focus on a couple of things that are going to help you in your future, where you look at what I heard about money isn't automatically true. I choose new ways of thinking to support my happiness and success. So consider that what you learned automatically isn't true. Just because you learned it from someone or you learned it from your parents doesn't mean it's automatically true. The new ways of thinking are the ways that now support my happiness and success. So things to consider: that money can't make you something that you already are, right? We've talked about your values, we've talked about how amazing you are, we've talked about different activities to show your value and build mental strength and resilience, and that how amazing that you are enough. You are already enough. It doesn't have to make you something that you are not, because you are already enough. And then the new anchors to learning and earning are purpose, contribution, and joy. If we have purpose and we're focusing on contribution and joy around money, then that's going to be a new aspect that we can focus on instead of what we had previously in our mindset, what we were taught or what we thought had to be true. So action step number 3, there's 6 amazing action steps. Action step number 3, what history does your partner bring to the table with money? Because now if you're with somebody, what are you on the same page, right? So now it's a little bit of questions around that. So there's a few questions that go through, and it's worth looking at if you have a partner, because you want to be on the same page so that you're not always conflicting over money. One of the challenges with marriage and divorce is that it's usually over, a high percentage of it is usually over money. So this can be a great part to start or help a relationship by getting on the same page. Decide and agree on some general money goals. Create a list of attributes and actions that you agree to live by. What are some fears or motivations around money? What is most important to you and what's most important to your partner around money? And what does that mean? Like, what is it? Does it mean status, pleasure, security, freedom? What does it mean? What does money mean to you and to your partner? Action step number 4. All right, so when we blame and complain, we need to have something that's going to replace that. So, for example, I only entertain thoughts that support and empower me. So when you find yourself complaining about money, or you're complaining about a situation that's happened with money, or now that's going to cost so much money, find that you need to replace it right away, right? We're always trying to replace negative things with positive things. I only entertain and thoughts that support and empower me. I only entertain thoughts that support and empower me. So that's what I need to think about if some negative things come up around money. So there's another way to do it too, is each night write something down that went well and something that didn't. And how was I involved in that situation? And were other people involved in that situation? And this will kind of help us keep accountable to some of the things that we want to do. Action step number 5. There's some questions here on, if you're currently in a job, is there a way that you could propose an option where you could earn money based on results? Is there a way that you could earn a little extra based on some results that you could provide? If you're in a business, maybe you could put together something that allows the employees to get paid based on results, based on some results they could do. If you're currently in a job that's not, giving you what you think you're worth, you could always start something on the side. You can always do something part-time, right? Considering things like a network marketing company, being a coach, being a consultant, getting paid on results rather than getting paid by time. And that's what we end up doing, is getting paid by results versus being paid by time. Things to consider: practice thinking ways of having both. So what's an example or an alternative way that you have been presented of how you could have both? That you're going to get paid based on results and having the things that you want. So then the last one is action step number 6. So we've got net worth. So how to find your net worth. Current dollar value of everything that you own and subtract everything that you owe. And then commit to looking at that each quarter because you want to see where your net worth is at. Is it growing? Some financial planners, right? You need to get a financial planner. You need to get maybe some references from friends or someone that's been really successful. And then have a date by, I'm going to get a financial planner by this date. Or if you already have one, fantastic. Here are some things that I suggest as far as opening accounts to now let's keep track of our money. A coach that continues to help me with things like this says it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And then I want to reiterate before I go over these accounts, there's 6 accounts that I suggest that you have so that you can contribute to others, you contribute to your family, to your savings, and to your future. Is that we very much follow the pattern of our parents. And I didn't realize this until I took a good look. And I realized that I had experienced very similar things to my dad. I experienced working at a company for 10 years, right? I experienced some massive wins in some risks that I took. And then I experienced some spectacular losses, devastating. And I've watched my dad go through the same things. And we can very much follow the pattern of our parents. And that doesn't necessarily mean that has to be always the way. You decide. It's your choice. Just because you've been taught, like we talked about before, just because you've been taught, that doesn't automatically mean it's true. You can now choose new ways to create money, joy, and success in your life. So it's funny that I very much mimicked a lot of the stuff that my dad did. And I've learned some different things along the way now, and I choose to do things a little bit differently. And now I'm looking at these 6 accounts, right, that I suggest that you put together so that you can contribute to your family, to others, and to your savings and success in your life. Happiness and joy for your life. Remember, we talked about 3 things that I think are more important to focus on as far as having a purpose for your money. And so if you have purpose around your money, contribution and joy, if they're the main reasons, then you're going to be having a more fulfilled life, because that's the best reasons to be making money. We all have a mindset around money, but what is it? So you got to decide, what is it for you? The accounts, the 6 accounts, I suggest having a freedom account, 5 to 10% of your income after your taxes in a freedom account. This is money that you want to spend so that you can have freedom and passive income in the future. It's not spend, it's put in an account for investing. And we talked about that financial planner. So that's your freedom account. You put 5 to 10%. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Maybe you can only put 3%. Maybe it's 7%. Maybe it's more. 5 to 10% of your income after taxes for your freedom account so you can invest and produce passive income in the future. Talking with your financial planner. Then a play account, 5 to 10% for your play, so that you can have 5 to 10% that you know that you can go spend on having some fun each month. And whether it's your family or just you or whatever that might be, or whatever that might look like. Long-term savings, 5 to 10%. And that's stuff that's you don't touch. And then over time, I know that my daughters are working on this, is that over time you can see it's going to build up and be a lot of money if I save 5 to 10% of my income and put it in long-term savings. The give account, 5 to 10% before tax. Give, contribute to a charity, to your church, wherever. I highly recommend that. And then number 5, an education account, 5 to 10%. We should always be learning and growing. There might be things you can learn about marketing, about advertising, about finance, about whatever business that it might be that you're in. Always learning and growing, so accounting for that. And then the last one is your necessity account. Of course, you have to have money to pay the bills and pay for all the things that you have regularly each month. And that's the remaining amount. So you look at your situation and you try and find out what works best for you so that you can work out how those things are actually being accounted for, so that it doesn't come 20, 30, 40 years down the road and you're worried about where you're going to have money. You're already going to have plenty of it because you've stacked it out in all those 6 accounts. So these are just recommendations. These are things that I've learned. I have learned things the hard way. Like I said, I followed a lot of the things that my parents did. Some spectacular wins, some devastating losses, but at the same time, learning and growing, and now deciding that these accounts that are keeping track of the ways that I can control money is definitely helped my money mindset. Now, we all have a money mindset, so we just need to make sure that we have the right frame of mind around money. It's here to contribute, it's here to bring joy to your family, and it's here to provide. So these are activities and principles designed to help you have a healthy, positive money mindset and live your best life. So I'll put these activities in the comments, and I hope that you have a fantastic Friday, an incredible day, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see ya.